video is going to be a bit different to the kind of videos I usually make. It's going to be a bit more rambly, a bit more of a talking video, because I have a big problem, and I felt like if I made a video about it, it would help it make sense. So Doctor Who, it just started out with season 12, and the first two-parter, Spyfall, it's all I've watched so far. I haven't watched the latest episode. In season 11, Doctor Who seemed to be in a very weird place. Like, the writing just wasn't there, and a lot of the stories were really bad, and the pacing was really bad, and it felt very confused and unsure about what it was, or what kind of tone it was going for, or where the show was going. It even had a couple really boring episodes, and Doctor Who isn't a boring show to me. I mean, I grew up watching it. It's like my favourite show. But some of the episodes were just so dull in their pacing, and I don't know what happened. I mean, Chris Chibnall, who's now the head showrunner, he can clearly do good Doctor Who stories. I mean, he's already done like 42 and The Hungry Earth and a couple other ones that aren't springing immediately to mind. But I think Chris Chibnall is a good writer, and he has written good episodes of Doctor Who when he wasn't the showrunner. But now that he's brought in all these new changes. I don't care about the Doctor being a woman, that's not one of my problems. My biggest issue is he's made all the episodes hour long, and none of them are two-parters and are all contained stories. That's not necessarily a bad thing on its own, but you've got to make the stories interesting and make them feel like they can fit within an hour-long run, otherwise they're just boring. And it was just a really bad series. Like, season 11 was just, it was dull and it was stupid, and the characters were all really annoying, and I didn't care about the companions. Well, that's not true. I like Graham and the other two. Ryan and Yaz are also there. Ryan and Yaz are okay. I mean, Ryan is in it way more than Yaz is. Yaz is like not even a character in season 11. She's given absolutely nothing to do. She's given one episode, the Curse of the Punjab, that one, where it's about, like, I don't know, she's given nothing, really. There's no character development for her, there's no series arc for her, she's just kind of there. And Spyfall does try to change that. It gives her a police angle when she's interviewing Lenny Henry. That's all great. I liked that. I liked how they were trying to give her more to do, because she's not had anything to do for like the entirety of season 11. But she is given more to do in Spyfall, and the decision to have the Doctor and the companion split up is inherently a pretty good idea. Because then you can do way more with the story, which is shown, because Spyfall, unlike season 11, is never boring. It has a very quick pacing, and it keeps that pace for like the majority, and it is good fun. But it's kind of really bad, and the reason it's bad is because the Doctor is no longer, I don't know how to word it, I don't like what they're doing with the Doctor. I think the Doctor's decision to turn the Master over to the Nazis was really out of character. The Doctor would never do that. I mean, yeah, the Doctor has done dark stuff before. I mean, just look at the Family of Blood and Human Nature. I mean, what David Tennant's Doctor does to the Family of Blood is really quite horrible and dark, and you understand why he did it, but it is one of those moments of Doctor Who where you're like, oh, okay, so the Doctor is capable of doing horrible stuff, and I like that. I like when a hero is given extra layers and shown that they're capable of flaws. And Jodie Whittaker's Doctor does have moments like that, where she kind of seems a bit irrational and a bit quick to do things, and maybe that's why she gave the Master over to the Nazis, but I just don't see that as a thing the Doctor would do. Unless they drop a massive twist that Jodie Whittaker isn't actually the Doctor, and the Doctor's stuck on that weird other planet where the Calvari, or whatever they were calling in Spyfall, live. Also, if you haven't watched Spyfall by now. You probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but you should. It's entertaining, but it's very sloppy, and I just don't understand what's wrong with Doctor Who. I don't know whether it's they've just stopped hiring good writers, or if the writers they usually hire who are good have forgotten what made their old episodes so special. Like, bring back the guy who wrote Flatline, like stuff like that. I love it, but stuff like the what was it called? The Lilo and Stitch alien one. I can't remember. It was in my head. The Sinagra conundrum. That one. That was pretty bad. That's season 11 though. So we're talking about season 12, and my main concern with season 12 is that they start listening to the fans and listening to the critics, and I hope to God that they start hiring good writers again, and they start thinking more about who the Doctor is, like what kind of person the Doctor is. Like, do they want the Doctor to be a dark version of the Doctor who does irrational stuff and is like a bit rough around the edges? If so, great. It worked for Christopher Eccleston. He was a really dark Doctor, but Jodie Whittaker doesn't play it that way. She's really goofy and silly and childish, much like the new Master. But then she does stuff like that, and then she makes decisions to like kill all the spiders in the Arachnids episode in season 11, and it's just, I don't understand what they're going for, and I don't like it. I've been a fan of Doctor Who since David Tennant's run. I've watched it since then. Like, I grew up with it, like I said, and I just don't know what's going on. Chris Chibnall is capable of writing good Doctor Who, so I don't understand where they went so wrong with the pacing and with characters. And Doctor Who's famous for having good companions, but I could probably tell you like one thing about all three companions, and that's it. And they've been the companions for like an entire series of television and another like couple episodes, and I couldn't tell you a thing really, aside from tiny things that are pretty inconsequential in the long run. I don't know anything about these characters, and that's a problem. And it's a problem because therefore I don't care. Like, it hasn't given me a reason to care about these characters yet, and I really want to. Like, they're all really good. I mean, Bradley Walsh is hilarious as Graham. I love his character. And Riot, all the acting's really good. No one's bad. Jodie Whittaker's great. I mean, obviously Jodie Whittaker's very talented, and she does play the Doctor well when she's given like a good script and a good chance to show why she is a good Doctor. But for the most part, I really don't like her version of the Doctor, and it's not because it's her, it's because of the writing. It's because she's written very inconsistently, and I don't like it. So hopefully Spyfall, like, it's really entertaining, so hopefully the rest of the series keeps that up, because I'm worried about Doctor Who. I'm worried it's going to keep going downhill, because even Peter Capaldi, he had some really, really bad episodes, and that was before Chibnall came in. So Doctor Who definitely has been on a steady decline, and that just upsets me, because this is like my childhood show, and I love the characters. And bringing back the Master, that's fine. I mean, yeah, they ended the Master's arc, and he like properly died when like both Masters killed each other, and then they would be stuck in a loop. So the Master was stuck there. Do we find out how the Master came back? No. But I don't mind it. I like the actor who plays the Master a lot. I think he's great. I like a more chaotic, angry Master. And I love all the Gallifrey stuff, like when the Doctor goes back to Gallifrey and it's all destroyed. Loved that. That was really heartbreaking. And the Master's speech when he's a hologram, that's all really good. The writing there is really solid. It's just, like the new Doctor, Doctor Who seems to lack consistency at the minute. And it makes me really sad and confused, really, because Doctor Who is usually at least good, but it tends to have a lot of really bad episodes recently, and I don't know why. I mean, it's probably because they're just hiring the same bad writers over and over again. Like in The Forest of the Night, that was a terrible episode. like pretty much everyone I've spoken to agrees that's an awful episode of Doctor Who, but then they brought that writer back. And then it takes you away with a really weird and confusing and messy episode that was trying to be surreal and weird, and I love that. It just didn't quite pull it off, but then they brought that writer back again for Orphan 55, which I haven't seen, but I hear is also pretty bad. So I just hope that it improves from here, because I do want to talk about Doctor Who positively again, because whenever I want to talk about Doctor Who and talk about the good qualities, I always go back to like David Tennant's run or Matt Smith's run or Christopher Eccleston's run. I very rarely go, oh, that Peter Capaldi episode, that was really good, or oh, that Jodie Whittaker episode. It's never that. It's always going back to the start of the revival. But now, as we get into like further along in this revived series, it really does feel like Doctor Who has lost its way. And I hope they start bringing in good writers again, and that they start remembering that Doctor Who is like a fast-paced, entertaining show when it is, and it can also be a scary show when it is, and it can be really creative. And that's all it should be. It should just be a really good, entertaining bit of television you can sit and watch with your family, and sometimes learn something, sometimes be terrified. But what Doctor Who should never ever be is boring.